This is Johnny Bunting Jr., 25 Ways to Make 25K, and I'm here with Sarah Shajay Johnson, the entrepreneur. Now, what I usually do is I talk to people who are about getting that paper, that money, that guap, that chavo, that cheddar, and ask them to explain their journey. We all have a journey. It all starts with one step. Now, to anyone that is watching this or is going to watch this and they haven't heard of you, after watching it, I want them to feel like they know you. So, in order to feel like they know you, you have to give them something. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, let us know how you came up, some of the things that you've done, your interests, and put you in a position where you felt that you had that urge that could only be satisfied when you reaching out and doing the things you do. So let's go. Tell me something about you.
Okay, so I was born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut. I went to Catholic schools most of my life, kindergarten to 12th grade. So, like during high school, I always wanted to go to college, and to me, education has always been important. So, I went to get my bachelor's in biology because originally, when I was in high school, I was thinking, okay, maybe I can be a doctor. My father had passed from cancer, so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I could be an oncologist. And so I had a rough journey getting my bachelor's degree. Again, I'm sure a lot of people know that it's not easy to get. And I feel like when I was almost done, I didn't want to do the whole med school thing. So I just like, okay, whatever, I'll do, go back to school for public health. So I went back to school for public health, and I have my master's in that. But throughout going to school all these years, I was working in the DDS field. I did that for 9 years. So people with developmental disabilities. So I worked quite a few different jobs doing that. Because people would say to me like, "Oh, how do you go to school and still have a social life and work?" And I was able to still juggle all those things while going to school full time. And I also work on the weekends and during the week. So I don't know. I was able to do it somehow. I don't know. But I didn't party a lot like when I first started college anyway. So it wasn't really that that much of a big deal for me to do. And so like even though I did good with all the jobs I've had, I felt like it wasn't fulfilling to me. I just didn't think it was my even though I was good at it, it wasn't my passion. And so after working in that field, and then after I get my public health degree, I was a community health worker I did that for almost a year, so I stopped doing that in May. And so that was my first real public health job. And I was glad that I got it because when I was school for biology, I couldn't get any job in biology. I felt like, oh my goodness, was this a waste of my time? Because I put in all these years to get a degree in biology, and then I couldn't even get into any lab. So to me, that was really discouraging. And I just was like, oh, I don't know what to do next. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to school anyways. So public health was fun and everything. I liked it, but I still didn't feel fulfilled. Even though there's a lot of things you could do with public health, I still didn't have that fulfillment at all. And then even like people, I worked really well with people, but sometimes I feel like you just feel like you want that type of freedom and just something that you're passionate about just in general. And I feel like I didn't get that with any of those jobs I've had in the past. Even the way some supervisors didn't know how to talk to staff, I didn't like that. I didn't like when supervisors will say to me like, "Oh, I'm your supervisor." I didn't like any of that stuff. So I'm just like, okay, well, once I started doing the candles about a year and a half ago, I felt that this was something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that makes me happy. It's something that I look forward to. And I feel like before my business, I feel like I didn't have as much to look forward to because, I'm watching, everybody just, live their lives. They get great jobs and, they have their families, they get married, all this. And I feel like, well, I don't have, all of these things. But since I started my business, I feel like that's the fulfillment that I needed. And that's the passion that I need to keep pushing forward in my life.
Okay, let's back up a little bit. You
Okay.
you were saying that you were missing something. You felt empty, a emptiness. So you needed something to fill the void. Now,
Yes.
then you mentioned doing candles, but you
Mhm.
didn't make the connection from
Oh, how I
the
started to do.
emptiness to get to the candles. Like I said, if somebody's looking at this and they see you for the first time and they get off from watching this, I want them to be able to explain to somebody else about your journey and know enough where they can feel like, yo, I know her. She grew up in New Haven. She was a biologist, and then next thing you know, she said, "Hey, this ain't enough. Let me do something else." So help us, fill us in,
Okay.
fill in that gap.
Okay. So, so a year and a half ago, me and you had a conversation about businesses, and you told me about the candle business. And so I first started doing my research. So at the time, I was working from home. Every day after work, I'll go online and do research because with candles, it takes a lot of researching and a lot of testing before you even put the product out. So, like doing the researching, I realized, like, okay, I really enjoy doing this. And so last May, I started doing, I did the flea market for the first time because just to see, how.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
You tell us you did some research, right?
Mhm.
Tell us what you saw in your research that made you say, I'm going to give this a shot. This is going to be worth my time and effort.
Because I felt that it was really interesting. It's something that I've never done before. So for me, since I like to learn about new things, try out new things and make stuff, I feel that, well, maybe I could, give it a try. I mean, it's worth it. And, I see a lot of other businesses that are doing it. I'm like, well, I can do this too, because I'm just a person that believes in myself. So I feel like whatever I put my mind to, I can do it. And that's like how it started. Is just you got to have the motivation and believing in yourself to do something. And to me, that's how it started.
All right. Now, take me step by step. You said, I'm going to do some candles. What's next?
Well, first I had to, well, after I did the research, I was like, okay, let me check different websites and see what I have to buy. I actually did on one of the websites I buy products from, there was a candle making, it was a candle business course. And so I went through the steps and I paid for the course. So it was only like $100. So I paid for the course and I learned about the business part of it. And then I started to buy the wax, the pouring pitcher, because at first I was just doing the double boil method. So I'll just put a pot of water on the stove, put the pitcher in with the wax, melt it down. I was buying the thermometers, the oil. So I bought a kit from that site. And that's when I started actually testing and making them. And I bought a few jars. And that's when I first started. So every day I dedicated myself to always learning and to, testing each week.
Okay. And did it come a time that you upgraded? Like, did you, because usually, like when I did my landscaping, when I first started, I was cutting hedges like this. And I'm saying for real, I had a tool that I had to cut hedges like this. Then I made a little money. Then I bought something that I had to plug in. Then I made more money. Then I bought something that's gas. And I'm saying this because when you first start off, depending on how much money you have, you may have to start off on a smaller budget. But then as you increase or as you see that it's viable, you're like, well, listen, well, let me invest in this. Like, how was you making the candles at first versus how you're making them now? Did that change?
Yes, it did because after probably 2 to 3 months, I researched about getting a melting pot. So then with the melting pot, that's easier because I could pour 6.5 liters of wax and melt it down. So that'll make my process quicker. So once I bought that, I was like, oh, I could just easily make them quicker, melt the wax down faster and everything. So I saved myself, I feel more time than just doing it on the stove method because obviously you do want to save time because it takes patience to make candles, but if you could do some stuff that'll save you with time, then that's what I did. So I upgraded with that. And then also at first I was selling only the small jars. So that was 7 ounce candles. And then eventually, like towards the end of last year, I started doing the bigger candles because, and I'll do like 2 or 3 wicks. And I know that people really like those too because it gives it even better hot through and everything. And it fills the room even more with the bigger ones and the more wicks and the wider diameter of the jars. So that's when I upgraded to that.
So what are your candles made of?
They're made of soy wax.
And soy wax versus paraffin?
Yes, some people do paraffin, some people do coconut. Some people have also done, I think it's beeswax. Everybody does different waxes, but I immediately just did this soy because I found out that it's a natural wax, so it burns slower. So you'll have, more time, it's not like a candle you'll burn 5 times and okay, that's it. So compared to the paraffin, but the paraffin is cheaper, but then it produces toxic chemicals. So I'd rather have something that's not going to produce toxic chemicals, even if I have to pay more for the wax. I'm not putting out a cheap wax that's going to be
Okay.
harmful for people and the environment.
So when you say the toxic chemicals, when you burn a paraffin, you see the black around the candle as it burns like it is that like some residue from the toxins?
Well, soy can also, but the thing is, it depends on if the candle is wicked properly. So sometimes, because that oil goes by the diameter of the jar, about the size of the wicks you have to use. So, but the thing is, in general, just paraffin, like what's the ingredients in it, is what is, when you burn it, and that's producing the toxins.
Oh, so the burnt on the
It's
candle
not
has
just
nothing to
the
do with the
Well,
what it's made
that
of.
might contribute to it, but it's really like it is what it's made of, though. It is because soy candles can have some soot. It may have little to no soot production, depending. But I know that a lot of this paraffin will have more, but it also what it is when it's in it too. What's in the wax? So what it's made of, and
Okay.
it's really cheap. So I feel like that's what a lot of companies will, like bigger names, they'll do that because they could buy a crazy amount for cheaper. And I'd rather just buy something that's more, more beneficial, even though it costs more.
All right. So do you have anything that you can show us?
Yes, I do. I have, this is my, sorry,
Back it up some.
I'll try
Back
to,
it up
yeah.
some. Boom. Okay.
Okay.
Now that is how many ounces is that?
This is 16 ounces.
And what would that go for, selling wise? What
So
would you
this
sell
would
that
be
for?
25.
$25. And about how many burning hours would a person expect to get out of that?
Usually 70 to 80 hours.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's
The
I
burn
mean,
low, and then with candles, you're only supposed to burn them really 4 hours at a time, so you get a lot of time out of it. That's why it's worth it because it's a quality candle. That's why a lot of people I feel like are transitioning to doing, to buying soy because they're realizing, "Oh, okay, well, this lasts longer. So wouldn't you want to spend your money on something that's going to last longer? I mean, I would.
do it have a fragrance? Is it a get you in a mood fragrance or what tell me. Let's
This one is Sweet Like a Peach. It's one of my top sellers, and a lot of people automatically just fall in love with this scent. It's one of my favorites as well. And a lot of people think that it smells like peach rings. So I think that they love that about it too. Like a lot of customers say that. So that's a really big seller. Another one I put out, a masculine type of scent called Classic Man. A lot of women like that one, and the guys love it too. So that's been another one of my top seller. I kind of come up with cute names for most of my candles to make it, more interesting than just what the oil is called.
okay. I don't when you said sweet like a peach, I can imagine what that smelled like without smelling it. But
Mhm.
classic man, what does that smell like?
The
A musky
classic,
guy coming
no,
from the gym?
classic man is, the little trees you get to the car wash, the fragrance,
Yeah.
Yeah, that you hang on your, yeah, that, it smells like black ice. That's what the
Okay,
fragrance
okay,
is.
okay. All right.
So
Now,
that's a popular fragrance, and it does smell like a masculine type of scent. So I was like, I like to also have scents that the men will love too. But women buy that one a lot. They love it. And so I'm like, okay, they'll both buy it.
yeah, when I had a car wash, and when I had the car wash, Black Ice was the most popular
Mm-hmm.
air freshener that was sold when I had the trees. So I
Mm-hmm.
understand where you're coming from. I know Black Ice. Now give me some more flavors before I take you somewhere else. Give me some more flavors that you have.
I have pineapple sage. I have radiant rose, tropical vibes. Tropical vibes is a coconut and bamboo scent. So a lot of men and females love that one too. I have mahogany teakwood. Mahogany teakwood is also a cologne. So if some people know what the cologne smells like, then they'll know what that candle smells like. And I also have fruity sensation. That's one of my smaller candles. I have lavender. I think I'm gonna be putting out jasmine soon because I noticed that sometimes when I go to events, people are like, "Oh, do you have jasmine?" So I may put that out soon. And one of my last newer scents I had put out recently was a candle that smells like Fruit Loops, and I had called it Sweet Escape. And that candle really does smell good. It burns really nice, and but I don't know. I feel like I still if I'm going to put it on my site because I also go by what people buy at the pop-ups and everything to see like, okay, am I going to keep selling this or will I just sell out of it or whatever. So I'm still debating about that one,
So
even though
so what's your site so I could put it in the chat?
it's truly amazing sense.
And it's spelled properly?
Yes, and make sure you put the S at the end. Trulyamazingsense.com. And there's also a sale going on right now for the candles and the room sprays. If they use the code fall 2023, it'll be 30% off. And that's also on the top. You'll see it on top of the site too.
Okay. So it's TRULYAMAZINGSCENTS.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Last year we had bought a candle from you at this time of year that had a skull face.
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing any of those
Yes.
Halloween type stuff? Is that on the site as well?
Yeah, those are on the site too. And now I'm doing them made to order at the moment because I sold out of the ones I had. But I only have one left. But you could do them you could buy them made to order.
So, what else do you have? Because not only do you have candles, you have other fragrances. So, promote your brand. Tell about your brand. Let's
I have
talk.
I have room sprays, which are mostly the same exact scents of the candles. And I have re-stick diffusers. Those usually last a few months. And I have those in the scents mango and coconut, pineapple sage, vanilla, and clean cotton. Usually pineapple sage and clean cotton sell the most out of the diffusers, but the diffusers really do last a long time. It's not like the ones you get at the store that only last 30 days. Like you'll have it for quite a few months, and the sticks will last at least 6 months.
Is
So
is
those are
pineapple is pineapple sage the same flavor, or is pineapple and sage two different?
it's the same.
Okay. Now, for anyone that watches this that doesn't know what a diffuser is, can you explain or show us what a diffuser is?
Yes, let me give me 1 second. I just want to get for you.
All right. So, while she is getting a diffuser to show us, I'm going to give a quick recap for anybody that's just joining. To Sarah Shajay Johnson, entrepreneur. She sells candles, sprays, and diffusers. She's going to show us a diffuser because I've seen a diffuser before, but then when I heard the name diffuser, when she said she was selling it, I was like, what is that? And then when we got it, it was like, oh, I've seen this before. I didn't know what it was by name, but here it is. Show it. Boom.
So these are the diffusers. And so it's 4 ounces of oil, but it usually lasts 6 months or more. There's some people that tell me that they still have them from last year.
So
So they last a long time, and I like to put them in my living room or my bathroom a lot. And you put all the sticks inside because the sticks have pores in them, and you could flip them once a week or as the scent gets mild.
okay, so that is how you bring the scent from out of the oil out of the jar into the room by having it soak
All
through the sticks. Okay.
mhm. Yeah.
Now, let's get to the good part, the hustle. How, give me some steps on your marketing, how you sell them, your plans, the different ways that you sell them, the different ways you get people to know about your brand, and how long have you been doing this? Like, let us know.
Okay, so I've been doing this for about a year and a half. Last May is when I first started doing pop-up shops. So I'll do probably one or two a month. That's what I did last year. So I did about 20 events last year, which was a lot. And some of them were good, some of them were, not high traffic. So I learned my lesson this year about that. So certain places I won't even waste my time going. So that was a big, lesson learned about the pop-up shops. So I mostly will sell them at those events. So I will do them here, or I've done them in New York. And also I will sell them to people that know me. So family members, friends, this my brother, he has friends and stuff too that will buy them, and he'll sell them for me too. So that's how I mostly would sell them. I do sell a little bit online, but I'm trying to get my online to where I'll be selling more frequently. So that's what I'm hoping to do. And I try to do more marketing emails now because I was slacking with that at first and trying to figure out, oh, how do I do this? So I had to do research about setting those because after I got my website upgraded last year, and I had someone put the marketing, it's called Clavio, on my site. So people could put their email address and they'll subscribe to my page. So every time I'll send a marketing email, they'll receive it and know when I have a sale going on. So tomorrow I'll make one for this current sale because it's only until next Saturday. And then you'll know everything that's updated with my site. And my goal is to expand my business to where I'll have my products in stores because I feel like, a lot of people tell me like, oh, your candles, they smell better than, the Walmart candles or like any other store. So I feel like, well, if all these other candles are in Walmart, I mean, I could be in there and I feel like I will really sell because I've sold in other stores, but I mean, I want to sell in like major stores. So that's my main goal, like moving forward with my business and, getting myself more known.
All right. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Now, let me tell you this. Do you watch Shark Tank at all?
I used to watch that.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you something that you may or may not have seen or heard from there. When you get into these big stores, the
Mhm.
high traffic, high exposure, high costs, which means that the money that you see in the pop-up shops, you're not going to see with them because they're going to take most of it. So in exchange for putting you in front of all these people, you're going to end up getting pennies on the dollar of it. And, if you sell enough, it adds up. But it's just letting you know so that you can have your head set and prepared that if I go to Walmart, the money that I'm making, per item is going to decrease significantly. But you may get so much of a, turnaround, you may accept it. Now, I want you to tell me your, first of all, tell us what a pop up shop is for those who don't know. And second, give us your pop up shop from hell story.
Okay, so a pop-up shop is so someone usually will host a pop-up shop. They'll post on Instagram or Facebook and say, oh, on this day and this time, we're gonna have, say, maybe 20 vendors, 40 vendors, however many. And so it'll be we may go there for 4 hours. Sometimes even at fairs, they look for different vendors too. and well, they'll charge usually more at a fair. And so we'll go there, we'll set up and sell my products for, that certain amount of time. So that's how you get to meet your customers, and they actually get to view your products, smell everything, and and buy from you. Um, I feel like one of my worst pop-up shops was last year. I think it was last November, the day after Black Friday. I went to it was in Westbrook, Connecticut. They have an outlet there. And so I was excited about this because when I signed up, the lady's like, oh, there's thousands of shoppers every year, and all this, hyped it up. So I get there. I think it was like a 6-hour event. And I thought it was so disappointing because I'm thinking that, okay, people are about to buy all this stuff. They're about to do their, Christmas shopping. And I'm in a room full of a bunch of vendors. They had, I think it was like 3-4 different rooms they had vendors in. So us vendors were in there like, oh my God, like people are here, but they're not really shopping. They're mostly just walking by. Like I sold some stuff there, and I was mad because I signed up for the day after Black Friday and I signed up for a day in December. And I feel like it was such a letdown that I didn't even go back in December. I actually did another event that would have been that same day, and I made way more. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time with this. So I was disappointed because I'm thinking that people are going to be here to shop, and they're coming with they had like tiny bags of stuff. So I'm like, well, the manager hyped up this event, and it was terrible. And especially for the holidays, because that's when I made the most really was for the holidays. But I just will never go back there. I can't waste my time.
Well, she did her job. She marketed it to bring you there to make money. She made some money. So she did her job. Now, you told me something about Brooklyn. Now tell me about the Brooklyn pop-up shop.
I did that one. The one I did in May. Oh, that one was it was a pop-up shop / fashion show. I think it might have been maybe 40 vendors. It was a huge space, which was good. But I feel like that one, it was people, but I feel like some people were there for the fashion show. Some people was there to maybe just dance around or whatever. Like it wasn't really my type of vibe. I didn't really care for it. And I thought to me that one was a waste. And after that, I didn't even go back to do any more New York ones. And I've done at least 3 3 or 4 New York pop-ups. And that one was just, yeah, it wasn't worth it to me. I was I can't go back. I'm not going back to Brooklyn, especially.
So what was the nickname? What was the nickname you gave?
I called it Brooklyn. They just wasn't interested in buying it. So I was like, what's going on? I was like, this was a waste of my time to drive all the way to Brooklyn, like 2 hours. Because if I go out of state, I definitely want to really make money, and people that are interested in buying stuff. And I just feel like, even here, I get picky more about the places that I go to, because I don't want to go somewhere. I don't like wasting my time. Like that's a big thing with me. I really don't. I try to use my time productive, and I just can't. I can't go back there.
Now, what was your best experience, pop-up shop experience?
I think when I did last year, I did 3 at I did 3 or 4. I did 4 actually at the Milford Mall, and those were the best ones, and especially because a few of them was around there was Black Friday and then the Christmas one. So those were the best ones because people were looking for gifts, and that mall was high traffic around the holiday time. There's always high traffic. So those I know I'll get good sales because people will be wanting stuff that I have, and I had the big candles out by then. I even had gift sets where you can get a spray, and I think it was like a 7-ounce candle as a package. And you could, that was a good gift too. I had the Christmas colors with that, and, people was buying the stuff. So those were the best ones.
All right. So your nickname is Shy J, right?
Yeah.
So how are you going to approach people? You shy? How you make this happen?
No, I do. I approach people. I always like anyone, people that walk by the table, I greet them because if you go to these events, you see that some vendors, they're on their phone, they're not paying attention. But for me, I'm there. I want to make my money. I want people to, smell my products and fall in love. So like I just feel like I'm a different person. I break out of my shell because I gotta sell my products. Like I'm not coming here to be on my phone and to eat at every single vendor and drink all this alcohol. I'm not there for that.
All right.
I'm
Now, I'm putting you on the spot right now. You're in a pop-up shop. I'm walking to the table. Try to sell me something. I want to hear how you approach people.
Oh my God, I don't even know. It's random. It's like if you walking by, I'm like, hey, how are you? And I may like wave you over, like, hey, come here. I'm like, and so usually if it's a guy, automatically let them smell like a classic man or a teakwood, and that they're usually sold. I feel like the scents pretty much sells it. I feel like I don't have to really do a whole lot of talking unless some people ask like, oh, well, why do you like the soy? Or because if they don't know about soy, so I'll educate them right there real quick. Or, so certain things like that. So I feel like the scents usually sell itself. And or they may ask me certain questions and other questions, whatever. But I feel like with the scents and my personality, then they just automatically they just will gravitate to me. And it could be people that's like just they're just staring and they're still walking by, and I'm like, well, you might as well come over because you're gonna be staring at the candles. Like you might as well come over. So I just feel like it just all just it brings them. I don't know.
How do you dress when you do your pop-ups?
I mostly just will dress presentable. Like a lot of times I will wear dress pants, like a nice shirt. Like that's how like all last year that's mostly how I dressed. I think this year I was a little relaxed, but I won't wear stuff like I'm not gonna wear no ripped jeans or anything like that. I like to be presentable in a way that as if you're coming into a store and okay, this is someone that's professional about her business. Like, I have to presentable. I'm not gonna wear certain things that I see people wear at these events.
So, do you believe that the way you're dressed, the way you present yourself, makes a difference between being approached?
I think so. For me, it does because that's just how I personally do business and how I see people. I look at that type of stuff. Like that's what I notice.
Do
Like if I'm
you?
going to go into a store, like that's what I noticed. And I want to be greeted if I go into a store. I don't want someone to just be like, oh, like I just go in there, I look around, they never say anything, and then I just leave because I feel like that's how a lot of people have lost sales because they're not greeting nobody that's walking by.
Right.
Like they're doing that. So you're there to just text on your phone. You could do that at home.
Right. Do you travel alone? Do you do the pop-ups alone or do you have help?
My mom goes with me to the pop-ups, and my brother, he went to a couple of them with me too. So, but she usually goes to all of them with me.
So what does she do?
She also helps sell too. So it's like you get two of us helping to sell.
Okay. Okay. If you had to lay down some words of wisdom as far as someone else wanting to do pop-up shops, how would you tell them to go about picking the
Mhm.
different shops because you went through your highs and lows, your woes, and so tell us how you now are more selective and what do you use to determine what to select and what to.
Usually I would say reach out to whoever the host is for the pop-up and like see whatever town it's in, if you don't want to go too far or whatever, what type of event it is. If it's holiday, I think usually holiday ones are pretty good because people may be looking for gifts, but also depending on the location too, and if you're familiar with that town, because there's a lot of towns I see pop up that I never heard of, and ask the host, okay, is this a high traffic area? So that's the stuff that I had started asking because of all the runaround I got from last year. So I started asking that, is it a high traffic location? Because you could go somewhere where there's an event and maybe a few people show up, and then you're there for 4 to 6 hours. And sometimes with these events, people will get up and leave early. They'll pack up and leave. So definitely find out if it's a high traffic area, and if it's what type of event it is. Like if it's even if it's a festival or something, like that should be good, because the fall, the summer, people go to stuff like that. um I wouldn't suggest, well, for my products, I wouldn't suggest doing the food truck festivals, because I feel like for there, people are mostly just there for the food. I don't really think they're there to buy products. So that's something I would just X out altogether. I wouldn't do a food truck festival. But there's people that do it. I just personally don't see, I just don't see it. I like doing the Juneteenth events. Those were really good. The one I did this year was really good. I did this Black Wall Street event, New Haven. That was really, really good. So I just say, just be, picky, and then don't be afraid to ask questions to the host.
Do you get familiar with hosts so that they can let you know if they're hosting at other places?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes they'll email me or reach out on Instagram about certain ones, or if not, or if I don't do the same person twice, then I might not hear from them again. So it depends. But I'm always online, so a lot of stuff I do see, and then I just decide if I want to do it or not.
Did you meet other vendors and network with them so that y'all can, explain how that type of thing works?
Yes, I think going to the pop-ups is really good for networking, because you do meet a lot of other vendors. And I became cool with a couple of vendors that I actually still talk to, and will exchange information about about different events that are coming up. So that's been really helpful too, because if I see something, I could just send it to them. And if they see something that I haven't, they could just send it to me, or they can call me. So I think that that's been good. And also, even on social media, we could connect on there, or they may post where they're going. So the networking part is, I think it's a big deal, and it comes in handy just with anything. Like, or say if you're, because I had a business party in April for my 1 year, and a lady I met at a pop-up last year, she does cakes. So I hit her up, and I was like, oh, well, can you do my cake for my party? So I feel like these connections are good,
Right,
because you can utilize them for other things besides just knowing about an event.
right, right. You make a friend, you make a client,
Mm.
so on and so forth. I get it. Um, what would you, if someone wanted to go into business for themselves, what would you tell him or her to as words of wisdom?
I would say definitely don't give up. It's not always going to be easy and, smooth sailing, but it's definitely worth it, because you're your own boss, and you don't have to worry about someone saying, I'm your supervisor, or any of those things. And just, do something that you're passionate about, because like if you're not doing something that you're passionate about, then it's just going to feel like a job, and you're going to be miserable. So definitely just, follow your dreams and just strive for it. Like, don't just, give up after 1 year, because a lot of people, they'll do a business for a few months, and they're like, oh, well, this isn't going anywhere, but you don't know how big you're going to get. So you might as well just keep on going, and, see how far you get with it. Like, don't just think that, oh, a few months, whatever, that's it. Just make
Right.
sure it's something that you want to do, and that's something that you're going to be able to dedicate your time to, because it does take a lot of time. And, and you can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, because a lot of a lot of things that we have s- thought was so far out of reach are attainable. And there are certain things like getting websites produced and all that. You go on Fiverr, you go on Upworks. There's
Mhm.
different places that you can get these things for a decent fare and
Yeah.
be like, well, listen, now I look more professional and I don't have to learn all this stuff and I don't have to pay a whole lot to attain it. So that's a good look. Now, I'm gonna tell you something about me. I love music. Now, there's certain musics that allows me to think about certain times of my life and, growing up or this, that, and the third puts me in certain places. Now, there's this song called Ain't No Stopping Us Now by McFadden and Whitehead. And that's like kind of like one of my theme songs. And there's a part in the song towards the end where he says, "Our time has finally come around." I get chills just saying that right now because that's how I feel. Like I've been driving and that our time has finally come around and tears come to my eyes because I feel like, yo, like finally it came around to me being in the driver's seat. And I ain't just talking about driving my Bentley. I'm just talking about being in the driver's seat of, I'm in charge. I'm able to take control of my destiny. Boom. And then at the very end, it's like, you can't stop me. He can't stop me. She can't stop me. So it's like, I take those words to heart and like, yo, listen, the one that can stop me is me.
Exactly.
So I can't put that out there to somebody else. So what is your thing? We have to give you a theme song. What is your theme song? What is
Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about the theme song.
Oh man.
I don't even know. I don't.
But just think about that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a song. Because some people, you might not be into music like that, but sometimes it's a phrase. It could be something from a book. It could be something from TV. But sometimes, or something your mother
Well,
told you.
I have like a scripture that I go by a lot. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And to me, that's something that keeps me going a lot and keeps me not giving up. And to me, knowing that, okay, I can do everything. I can do all of this stuff. I don't care what people may say or think, like if I may be juggling too many things. I'm like, I can do it. So that's something that is really dear to me.
You got somebody saying I got that pretty lady. Uh-oh. Somebody got a crush on you. Um, Listen, I am impressed of anybody who can weather the storm because there is a storm. So I want you to tell us about some of the storm because I know this from my own personal life. I've had people that didn't want to support me. And it's sad because some people think that to support you or to support me is like betraying themselves. I don't know why they think that way, but that is a crab in a bucket mentality. Because if you think to support me is taken away from you, your mentality is not great at all. Because on the flip side, I look at it as if you help me to get up, this might be the hand that reaches to grab you to pull you along the way.
Exactly.
But
I think of it through like that.
but tell me some, you don't have to go with names or nothing, but tell us some of the woes coming up as far as making progress because it got to the point, and I'm being real. It got to the point whereas every time I make goals,
Mhm.
you gotta set goals. You have to have your short term and your long term. And the main reason to have your short term is so that you can make it to the long term because the long term sometimes seems really long. So you have to be doing something where you can feel, okay, this is worth it. This is worth it. Even the journey has checkpoints and places where you got to fill up with more gas. It's like you got to get to I got to make it to here. And when I get to here, it'll give me enough gas to get to somewhere else. These just look at it like pit stops for gas and to change your tires and all this stuff like you're on a real road race. Now, in your journey, sometimes when you stop at these pit stop, people get out. So let me know. Some people like, yo, listen, I can't go no further with you. I'm out. Tell me about some of yours situations because you can start off with a full bus. and get there
Mm.
and be the only one there. You driving like even the driver left.
It's crazy. Like even when I first started, it was already an issue because one of my this girl that was we were friends and we would talk here and there and she's like, oh well, there's something that I want to do and I hope that you'll support me on it. But she never told me what it was. So I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be a surprise. I didn't know what the heck it was. So around the time I started my business, I'm gonna do I wanted to really do it in person, like tell a few of my friends I was gonna invite them over, make dinner, and tell them, oh, I'm starting a business. And so she was gonna be one of the people I was gonna invite, but I know she couldn't make it. So she's like, oh, she called me and she's like, oh, just tell me what it is because I won't be able to make it. I ended up doing the thing virtually because I couldn't get anyone to come here physically. So I told her on the phone, like, oh, okay, I'm about to launch my candle business. And so, we talked a little bit on the phone after, like, during that time. And then I think it was I want to say maybe a week later, I'm I'm on the computer working from home. I get a text message, like a paragraph from her saying, oh, friends don't steal friends' ideas and all this. Like, I'm going to start a candle business and all this. And she thought that she told me. And I'm like, you never even told me that you were going to start this business at all. And so she's thinking I stole her idea when I didn't know anything about it. And around the same time, she was having issues with her boyfriend, they broke up or whatever. And so I took it as, well, that must be what she was taking things out on me because of something
Right.
that he's done, because I'm like, you didn't even tell me you was going to start this. So I lost a friend ASAP, just from starting the business in general. So we just ended up blocking each other off social media, all that, off numbers, all
Wow.
that. Yeah, like it just happened literally that quick. Like I couldn't believe it. I was in shock because you definitely didn't tell me what you were going to do. You said it was a surprise and we didn't
Right.
talk. It's not like we talk every day or every week. And she thought that we talked enough, but I'm like, no, we don't. Like you talk to me more like if you're not in a relationship or something, because that's what some of my friends do. Like they'll talk to me more when they're single, but then when they get in a relationship, it's like, okay, bye, Sarah. I'll see you later. I'll see you next year. So I had to start, checking people on that because I'm like, well, don't just ditch me because you get into a relationship.
Right.
So that was the first thing that I went through. And then I feel like over time, some people that supposed to be like, really good friends, they never supported. They're like, oh, I can't buy candles. I have a kid. And I'm saying, well, I have root sprays. I have diffusers. And then I get no response. I'm like, people have kids, obviously, and they burn candles. Or even if it's something that you don't use, you could gift it for somebody. For me, I always say this example because I want to support my friends. So if I had a friend that had a eyelash business, I don't wear lashes, but I'll buy it and give it to a friend or something as a gift because I wanted to support your business. So
Right.
for me, I feel like it's no excuse if you're supposed to be such a close friend. I feel like there's no excuse.
Right.
So for me, I just feel like, you could have supported, but it's okay. Um, and then over the summer, because my original business name was Sophisticated Sense LLC. So I went through a little stumbling block with that because somebody wrote me on Instagram and they sent me this letter about how saying that they have the same LLC name. So they don't live in the state. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, did LegalZoom deceive me or something? So I call LegalZoom and I was like, okay, how does this person have the same LLC name, whatever? And so I found out that they actually only look for, make sure you don't have the same LLC name in the state, not the country. So that's why for a few months, probably from June to September, I wasn't really posting that much online because I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get sued? Like, I'm like, I didn't know what the heck was going to happen.
Right.
So then eventually I was advised to do a DBA and I'm like, okay, I could still keep the LLC and just doing business as Truly Amazing Sense. So that's recently what I did. That's why I've been working and I got so hard. I got a new logo from someone on Fiverr and I changed up my labels because I'm like, so now when you could search me through Google still, and you could type in Truly Amazing Sense and it shows my TikTok, my Instagram, all that stuff. But my Instagram I still kept Sophisticated Sense LLC because I already have over 900 followers. So I'm like, I'm not going to change the username because then no one will be able to find me.
Right.
So that I had to keep the same, but like my TikTok, I put Truly Amazing Sense, but then, and then I bought a new domain, but I found out how to link my domain from my old one. So if you have my old site, you could still get to me on the new one. So I had to do researching over a few weeks and I was able to fix that on Shopify myself because I was going to pay someone, but I was like, no, I'm going to just find out how to do it myself. So whatever I don't have to pay someone to do, I just try to do it myself.
Right.
So that was a little stumbling block that I cleared up now. I went to the town hall down the street for me and I have my paperwork and it says Sophisticated Sense LLC doing business as Truly Amazing Sense. So I'm glad that got cleared out because, it's always something.
So when you got a cease and desist order, right?
Yeah, a letter. And then I was told that you can't send that through. Well, Instagram is not going to be valid. You have to get that. They would have had to really mail that to me or something, or probably have a lawyer or the court, whatever, do that for it to be really valid. So it wasn't. But I mean, I still don't want to have the same name as someone else. So I just did the DBA because I
Right.
didn't, I'm doing business. So I'm learning as I go still.
And that's good because here's the thing that can happen. I'm not saying it will happen. This is me educating anybody that's watching. If you have a name, your company name, and it's in commerce, it's doing commercial business, and someone gets a name like yours, and they're doing the same products, similar products, and they start blowing up. You had the name first, and they start blowing up. Once they blow up, you can sue them and say that they owe you because they made some of their sales on the strength of your name and your reputation because you was out first. So it's good that they sent you a cease and desist order while you were still growing, and they
Exactly.
didn't, because they could have said, okay, well, they picking up some steam here. Let's let them get a little more, and then we say, yo, listen, because when you Google Sophisticated Sense, you was getting them first.
Well, no, actually, you was getting me first, and then they was like under it. So people
Okay.
could be. The thing is, with the same name, someone could get confused thinking that, oh, well, which one is which? Then they have a store, where they live. So it's like they could have got confused, but like, oh, well, is this person's site or is it this site? So
Oh,
that's the
okay.
reason why the whole like thing you need to really have a different, name. And I was worried because since I had to change my domain, I'm like, oh shoot, is that gonna knock me off my SEO thing that was set up?
Right.
So I went back online because at first when I changed it, I couldn't Google myself anymore. I'm like, well, wait, did that knock me off? But then the other day I did Google it and it does say the Truly Amazing. So now I don't got to worry about that at all with them. I just have to change my Facebook thing, but that's been giving me an issue with the Facebook like page. So I have to just change my name on there. And then and then that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else with that title on
All
there.
right. So it's good that yours pop up first on a Google search. But
Hmm.
just to paint the picture, if they said, well, listen, we spend 5,000 a month in advertising, and your stuff blow up, be like, yo, listen, people are clicking the link, and they're buying stuff from her off the money we're spending. So you owe us something. This is just putting that out there in the universe for people to hear and digest. Now, as far as you gave us the horror story about the broke land and the other joint, and you told us about the good. Now, is there a difference? Is there a difference between black and white? And what I'm talking about that is when you're dealing with some of these white hosts and you're dealing with some of these black hosts or some of these events in more white towns or more black towns, is there a difference? And I'm just keeping it real. Like, is it,
Yeah.
is the money different? I understand that you can go to certain towns and the town itself is money. Because I've done Uber, I've done a few things, and I knew when I went to certain towns, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get a big tip. I don't even, doesn't matter what I'm delivering, because I know where I'm at. So
Yeah.
tell us, Tell us that.
I think there is a difference because since I've done so many events in all these different towns, I noticed that if it is an event where it is going to be mostly Black people, I will get supported more. But if it's not and it's other cultures, I may try to greet people. They might not look at me at all. They'll just, walk away. They'll be like, well, I'm allergic to scents. Like, it's always a bunch of different excuses. So that's why I've been more picky because I'm like, some of these towns I never heard of. I'm like, well, I'm just not even going to bother to go because I don't want to feel discouraged because it is discouraging. You greet somebody and they walk right past you like you're nothing. Like, I felt like that even with my last event I recently did. Like, that's just how, I know it's business, but it's like you do feel, it does feel like you're discriminated against, honestly. And it is sad. But that's what I experienced this year and last year.
And
So
you're
it's
saying, I'm trying to be clear with it. You're saying when you go to towns or events,
mhm,
that's mostly a Black, African American, minorities, whatever you want to call it, that you
mhm.
get more support than you would
Yes,
if you're in the. Okay,
I think
okay.
so. I noticed that because I've done so many, I've done probably over 25 events at this point. So that's what I noticed that big time.
Now, as far as professionalism, explain to me how it is with the professionalism, host by host. Like, are some hosts just have their events just straight up ragtag, and there's some are more proficient and got things more, you know, streamlined, done more meticulously.
I feel like with certain hosts, my only issue is if I go to an event and say, because I've done a couple, in New York, and like, okay, so in New York, you know how people always walking around, walking on the sidewalk, whatever. So if it's a host and she's, mostly inside with, all of us, like not bringing the people in, to me, that's what I feel like I mostly had an issue with because I experienced that the first time I went to Brooklyn last year, and there was a table near the door, and this girl, I think it was the girl's boyfriend, he was the one bringing the people into the pop-up shop when I felt like the host, she should have been bringing the people in. I'm like, you have all of us here, like, bring the people in from off the street to come inside. So to me, that's the biggest thing that I was discouraged about with certain hosts is if they're not going to bring the people in because we probably wouldn't have made anything if that the vendor's boyfriend didn't bring people in. And I was just like, okay, after that, I didn't do no more her events, even though she has events there at that place all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming back here because I just didn't understand it.
And where was that event at?
This was in Brooklyn. This was the first one I did in Brooklyn last year.
Yeah, but Brooklyn is not good for you, huh? You're not getting no. Oh my gosh, another
I
bad
think the
Brooklyn
Bronx was
story.
the Bronx was my favorite one. That was my first pop up in New York, and that was my best one. And that was a good one. And every people were
You
coming in. The host was bringing people in, and it was a rainy day too. And I'm thinking, oh my god, no one's gonna show up. And that one was great.
you was on 233rd.
um,
That's
it's the East 233rd, I think.
yeah, that's
Um,
a high
yeah,
traffic area. Yeah, you
yeah.
was
Oh, now my traffic.
yeah. So and you have your own sidekick that's gonna bring some customers to you too. So you're not giving her credit, but you got your own sidekick too. Um, growing up, do you have any examples of entrepreneurs or someone that gave you that image of independence that you seen that strength that you mimicked like or not
Yeah.
like
Yes,
okay
my
tell us.
growing up, watching my mom be an entrepreneur, doing the hairdressing. She owned a religious bookstore, banquet halls. So I feel like watching her, I never thought I would own a business, but look at me now. So watching her, she's a great example and very motivational. She's always in my ear and, pushing me forward. So I really appreciate her for everything and being a great, business role model too, because, it's really inspiring because she's done so much. So, like, I would say she's definitely my biggest role model for that. And then as time went on, you also became a role model. And one of my friends, Shakim Shabazz, he's also a role model for me, who's also an entrepreneur. So you three, definitely.
So, are there any words of encouragement, of wisdom that anybody spoke to you that you would pass on, like maybe when you were down and out or you was felt near defeat, that lift you up, inspired you, motivated you? It doesn't have to be an actual word that you can mimic and say, okay, well, I can spit to you verbatim, but tell us, because I'm sure you had your little bumps in the road. What do you do, or who do you turn to when you go get, or do you go to the corner and lick your wounds and just go to sleep and wake up the next day and say, let's try it again? How do you go about that?
Well, a lot of times I pray. So that's one thing I do. Like, I pray a lot, and like, I could be going through so much of a struggle in my business, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna pray, like, and I'll be crying and praying at the same time. So I'm like, I literally just did a few days ago. So I pray a lot. And then I also talk to my mom, and sometimes I'm on the phone with her and I'm like crying. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, and so she always just, is uplifting, and, she knows that she knows I'm not going to give up, because I have that strength, and the same strength that she has. And I have that motivation. So, between praying and also talking to her, it's like, that's pretty much that's what gets me through every single week and every day. So
Well, let me tell you something.
she's not gonna let me get up. She's not gonna.
Let me tell you something. In being an entrepreneur has its ups and downs. And I said this at your 1 year party myself. There's times where I made over $1,000 in one day, and there's times when I didn't make nothing, but I signed up for that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and I know there's power in prayer, and also in believing in yourself, because you have to speak things into existence. If you don't believe in you, how do you expect anyone else to? Because someone put in here, they said, I like your confidence in how you speak, Sarah. So this person,
Yeah.
I don't think the person knows you, but they might. But it's like when you exude that confidence, you attract people. Some
That's
people will come and support you just because of the confidence. You have a neighbor or somebody that supported you from day one just because
yeah.
you're right. And some people, they like that. They like, yo, listen, this is a young person coming out here doing her thing, having the spirit, the will to go out there and do something and make it happen. And there's going to be bumps in the road. And you've had, I'm going to say it, family isn't always going to be there. Point blank. And I'm talking about some of the closest people, like brother, sister, cousin, whatever. Sometimes they like, can you support me? Nah, I ain't, I got things to do. But then Christmas time come, a kid's birthday or something like that, they looking for you. You're going to give a gift? You're going to come to the party? No, I got things to do. I got to sell some candles. Like, all right, boom. Now, what we didn't talk about is that not only did you use your 9 to 5 to help, but you do side hustles too. Like you're an entrepreneur. Candles ain't the only thing you do. Like, so, like, tell us, like, sometimes you gotta do this one thing to make some money to support this thing. Listen, I did it. Bunting Enterprises, Black Wall Street Private Lenders Corporation, Fragrance by Lilia, Crime Residential Services. These are all my companies. And sometimes, like, I gotta do this, help to keep this afloat. Boom, you gotta do it. So tell us, what else have you been doing to help keep the? Because here's the thing: when somebody looks at it, I want them to give you your credit. And in order to give you your credit, they have to know your plight. They have to know your journey. They can't say, okay, well, listen, what Sarah said, she was born in Connecticut, went to college, got a master's degree, has a company. That sounds nice and pretty on paper, but it doesn't speak the journey. It doesn't say, well, listen, I had trouble paying my rent last week. And I'm not saying you did. I'm just freestyling. I had trouble paying my rent last week, so I had to go out there and do a few deliveries to make up for it. My car note is due next month, in 3 weeks. So
That just
I got to make it happen. And the refrigerator broke. You're like, things happen. I know this, man. I know this. Some people look at me like I got everything because I got some expensive stuff. But expensive stuff costs money to keep and to maintain. And guess what? It's expensive to keep and it's expensive to maintain. So I know when I'm in the middle of something and then 2 cars had to be repaired at the same time. And I'm like, damn, I gotta send 2 cars to the shop. And the Benz was expensive for something little. And I was like, yo, but I had to pay because it's something that was necessary, and it's still messed up. I paid almost $2,000 for something, and the problem is still there. And they was like, oh, it's a different part now. It's a different part, same results. Like, but anyway, this is and I'm like venting to you. But this, I understand it. So tell us some of the grind. Give us the grind. This is 25 ways to make 25K.
Okay. So also over the years, in the midst of doing my jobs and everything, and then still currently, I used to do Uber Eats, and then over the last couple of years, I've been doing DoorDash. And now, since I left my job in May, that's what I mostly been doing. I just been doing DoorDash, and that's been helping me too. So I just hustle to pay my bills I gotta pay, and hustle to buy my products. So it's not always easy, but I just get out there every day, and I work as if I'm going to a regular job, and I get out there. So I'm not afraid to make money and to work hard because I know I have to do what I have to do. So that's what I do now, because I don't really want to go into working another job. I want to just expand my business and do other businesses as well to generate money and to generate more money. And so I could just be working for myself. That's it. Don't even do the DoorDash no more. And so once I get to that place, then I know for sure, like, okay, I've done everything I need to do to get myself to that point, because it's hard out here. Everything's expensive, food's expensive, gas prices up and down. But I just hustle and I just do it. Like, I don't complain, I just do it. Even if I gotta do Dash all day Sunday just to pay my cell phone bill, Dash all day to pay my electric bill. That's what I've been doing.
Here's the thing, for your friend that's no longer your friend. You already said it. You got the candle idea from me. I got the idea from my sister, Momo B. She told me about it. She showed me something on YouTube where this woman took 6 months and was making over $100,000. So I'm like, wow, I don't got time to do that. So let me push this to somebody else who has time, because I don't mind sharing an idea to help somebody I love to make money. I don't mind sharing an idea to help somebody I don't know to make money. I go out there and sometimes I have speaking engagements and I'll talk to a room full of people I've never seen before in my life. Sometimes an auditorium, and I love it when I feel that energy. It's like a electricity that goes through me when I start saying something. People will start laughing, and people will start crying, depending on what I'm saying. And the energy, you could cut it with a knife. They feel what I'm saying. They feel what I went through, and I can feel what they're going through, because that's why I'm speaking to them, because I know them without knowing them. You know what I'm saying? I know you. We are one in spirit, so I can understand some of the things that you went through, because I went through it. I went through. My wife had my daughter, and she was under contract. So that means when she was off for maternity leave, there was no money because she was under contract. So she didn't have the job, whereas they pay for maternity leave. So I knew that I had to make $3,000 a month to cover all our bills. I knew that that's what I had to do. In my mind, there was no option. You have to do this. And that's when I first started doing Uber, and I did it. It wasn't no have to do. This is what I got to do. This is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got used, like, yo, listen, this ain't as hard. When you say I got to do it and it gets done, there's no party. I did what I was supposed to do. That's what I had to do, and I did it. But then when I analyzed it, like, yo, hold on, I did that, but I could do more. I didn't even go as hard as I could have, and I did it. So then I start doing other things and going harder, and I just start seeing the money get higher, and I'm like, yo, I can make some things happen. And then you get a swagger. And some people may not like it, the confidence or whatever, and I don't care. If you don't like my swagger, change the channel. Go somewhere else, like, because I walk my walk. So walk yours. You know what I'm saying? If I'm walking my walk with a swagger, my chest out, it's because I deserve it. I earned it. So when you do you and you proud, be proud because you earned the right to be proud. So if you got to do a delivery or something to pay the light bills, all right, do the delivery, pay the light bill. Somebody else can live in the dark. Won't be me. I'm going to do it. I'm gonna sell these candles. Like, I'm gonna make it happen. You'd be surprised that some people, when I had the car wash and people saw me on the news and they heard about my situation, people was coming to the car wash just to see me. They ain't even care about their car being washed. It's like, I just came to meet you. I'm going to support you, but I'm here because of you. And that's why I want you to be able to tell people about you, because tell people how to get your candles, and they learn about you because they'll like you and say, oh, I like her. Sarah, she's a cool person. I like her. I want to support her. I'm going to tell somebody else about her. The holidays is coming up. Support. Buy some candles. Buy a diffuser. Buy a spray. You got anything else coming out? Buy a t-shirt. Buy a hat. Whatever. Like,
I do actually want to start doing some type of merch, though. Like this one, the t-shirt thing, because I do want to start doing that. But next coming up, I do want to put out a sale for, Black Friday's coming up. And also, since the holidays, I want to start doing the dessert candles. And I started experimenting with that. So I'm like, okay, that'll be a nice gift too. And it'll have nice packaging and everything. So that will be on my site too, so that people can get their gifts.
Now, you were telling me that I guess you was toying with the possibility of making some like stuff that you put on the body and sensual tasting stuff. Did you ever do that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh, the massage oil candles.
Yeah, did you do that yet?
Oh, I didn't even get a chance to do that.
Well, explain, because this might be upcoming, but say what's on your mind.
Okay, so the massage oil candles, I think I have made one with shea butter, and this massage. I don't know if I probably was gonna do one that was unscented, because some people can't take scents, and then maybe use some type of essential oil or fragrance oil for to give it like a little scent. So I thought about doing that. So you light it, and then once it melts down, you blow out the candle, and then you could pour it in. We pour it on your hands and then massage someone with this. So I thought about doing that.
Okay. Okay. So that's gonna be the rated R version, like.
So if I do that, then that'll be something different. Because you don't see that type of candle out that much. So that's why I was thinking about that before. So we'll see. But next time I want to do the dessert ones have to be next though, because
the dessert ones.
Yeah, I know people are gonna want those. I have to get everything I need for that. So I'll be hustling the next few weeks to get them.
So what's the dessert? Explain that, because I know what it sounds like, but explain what it is.
So usually it's just a candle. I made a couple just to like play around with. This is one that I just made for I don't know if you can see.
It looks like a cake.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna. Okay, now it's better. So I'm gonna.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to make some with like still with the frosting on top, and then I could get like do like the strawberry banana embeds, like they look like fruit molds,
Right.
and I want to do those and put them online and put them in a cute box. I want to do them like in this type of glass, but stemless.
Oh, like a flute.
So so look like this, but without just like this without the stem though,
Okay.
and put it in a box, and then with a bow on it, so people could give that as a gift,
Okay.
or
But
they could keep it for themselves.
if it doesn't have a stem, then it's gonna have a stand at the bottom of the.
It's just gonna be just flat, like it just be flat. Like it's
Okay.
where you're looking at like this, it'll just be flat.
Yes. Okay.
So I already know everything I need to order for that, and I already know what scent I'm gonna use. It's a nice strawberry cheesecake scent that smells really good. So they could just, you can burn it if you want, but I imagine some people won't burn it. They'll just keep it as, decoration. So
Right.
I'll be coming out with those soon. So I'm really excited about doing those.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. That's right. I like that.
Because
I
you don't
like
see
that.
those
So
that much.
yeah, because you have to keep reinventing yourself, making yourself different from the pack. So that's good. Um, give us some parting words of wisdom. Go
Um,
repeat how anybody can follow you on Instagram. You said you
oh,
on TikTok, Twitter,
mhm.
what have you, and so I can put it in the chat. And
Oh, my Instagram is Sophisticated Sense LLC.
okay,
It's all one
uh,
word.
hold on, let me see the P. Oh, I'm not the best. I'm
Make
not
sure you
the
spell it
best
because
typist.
everybody spells sophisticated. I don't know why.
No, it's SOPHISTICATED SCENTS
Yes, you got it.
dot what?
No, that's for the Instagram.
So a sophisticated sense at Instagram. How do I put it? I don't know how to
No,
put the.
you just put you can just do Instagram semicolon Sophisticated Sense LLC.
Oh, hold on. So Instagram semicolon sophisticated sense LLC. All right. Um, and what's the next thing you have?
TikTok
Yeah.
is Truly Amazing Sense.
Do I put Truly Amazing Sense first or do I put TikTok first?
You could put TikTok semicolon like you did before.
Okay. And you said Truly Amazing
Sense.
LLC or just that? Truly Amazing Sense.
It's just that's just the no LLC on that. And did you put the website on there?
What's the website?
The Truly Amazing Sense.
Yeah, I did that
Dot.
earlier.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay, that's it. No LinkedIn, no
No, my
Facebook.
LinkedIn.
You don't you
I gotta update my Facebook because it's been issues with me even putting my logo on the profile picture. It's an error with Facebook for some reason. Every time I go in there, they won't let me add it. But I have most of my followers anyway on TikTok and Instagram. So I'll figure out the Facebook thing. Eventually I'll figure it out again because it's just been hectic.
Okay, Tony Staten said um he's going to buy something from you. So he said he got a dog business and he was looking for some candles. So he's
Oh
going to
man.
check you tomorrow. So that's good. Thanks, Tony.
Oh,
Good
thank you.
looking
I
out.
appreciate
Tony been rocking with me from day one.
it.
So now some parting words. And here's the thing. I try to give wisdom as well. One of my things that I say is if you want to do something you haven't, if you want to get something you haven't, blah, 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 If you want to go places you haven't gone to, you have to do some things that you haven't done. And I believe that people need to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
And us being Black people, one thing I like about you giving your mom's props
Mm-hmm.
is because when you saw her owning a store, it made you believe, regardless of whether it was consciously or subconsciously, that you can do it. So that made it easier for you to step out there. My father had a store when I was young. So it made it in my head to have a store. Oh, yeah, that's so many people have not seen no one close to them with anything. So it makes having that vision harder to see because they don't have an example of it.
Mm-hmm.
We've had examples of it, so it made it easier for us to step out there and get it. But the good thing is we didn't break the chain because your mother, you, my father, me. Now, beneath us, we have people that see us and they can say, well, listen, they've been doing a whole bunch of stuff. So it makes it easier for them to say, well, yeah, I could do that. But she done did this and did this and did this. He did this. He did this. Listen, my first business, I started from when I was still in prison when I started my first business. So if I can start a business from doing time, then you out here like, what? I was doing research. Okay, listen, go to the court, file the paperwork. I made the paperwork and everything, sent it out. Go file that in the court. I got my DBA. Boom. Got the paperwork back, sent it to Albany, the Division of Corporations, and filed my first corporation while I was in prison.
Wow.
So I know it can be done, but we have to set that example for people so that they won't keep thinking, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. And like I said, I do some expensive things. I do some things, but not a part of it is showing off. I'm not gonna lie. Part of it showing off. Some of the things I wanted to do, I do it because of the naysayers. Like, yeah, you're going to talk about me now. Talk about this, but it's another thing because I'm also setting a stage for those people that I'm inspiring. Because when I say you can do this, and you look at me and say, well, he did it. It's one thing. I've never used drugs. I've sold them, but I never used it. So I wouldn't go into a rehab center and tell people, well, listen, don't do drugs because the effects, I can only tell them what I read. I can't tell them how it really feels because I haven't done that. But I can go into a group of ex-cons and tell them, listen, you don't need to do no crime because I lived it. I experienced it. I can go into a group with people that are want to be entrepreneurs or they're toying with it, and I can tell them my plight and my steps because I lived it. So when we're able to talk to people about what we lived, not only are we more credible, but we're more knowledgeable because we lived it. Because sometimes you can read something in a book and it's outdated. Things done changed. So you spit in knowledge from a book, information from a book that's not applicable to today. I can tell you what's going on today because I'm doing it. 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks ago. Last week, I chopped up a tree. This is one of my businesses. One of my clients' tree fell in their yard. Tree was, it was too big for me to hug. Boom, and he had another small tree. Small tree I could choke, but the tree was tall. The other one fell. He wanted me to get rid of it. I chopped it up in pieces. Chainsaw, chopped it up in pieces. Chainsaw, I got a pole saw too. So the pole saw is a small, but it's a chainsaw. Chopped the limbs off the tree, the tall tree, and left it as a long joint, and then took the bigger chainsaw and then chopped it, brought it down. Chopped the big one that was down into pieces, rented a truck, hauled the pieces away. I'm telling you this because I do stuff, man. There's a need. Listen, there's money behind it, man. The tree, where's that? Let's get rid of it. Like me and my stepson, just two of us. And a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have had the courage or the knowledge to do it. But this ain't my first tree. You know what I'm saying? Did some trees. And it's because I've had clients that had me doing other things. And they're like, well, can you do this? Google, internet, I do my little searching. Like, that's how they do it. And I see they do it way more professional than me. Because the big bucks, they have the machines and all. I can't rent the machine. I can't do that. But what I can do, I could cut all the limbs off of it, turn it into one long stick, and then bring the stick down. I just break it down in my head. So I'm saying all this to say is that these things are possible. You don't have to be, I'm religious, I'm Muslim, I pray a lot. And I believe that I can do things. And I believe that with guidance, I will do more. So it's not hard for me to visualize things. We do. I don't know if you do this. Anybody that's watching, consider this. When it gets to December, to the turn of the year, you know how people make their New Year's resolutions? We do vision boards. I'm going to tell you our version of a vision board. You can do something similar or do something to the best of however you want to do it. We get a cardboard, and it's like a frame, and then we'll go in magazines and stuff, and we'll cut out pictures of stuff, words or whatever, and we'll paste it to the vision board. Now, I'm not home right now, but I wish I was home to be able to show you one of our old vision boards. Now, these are stuff that we are working towards. Even if we aren't actively working towards it, we're calling it into existence. I'm at where I used to live. So, but I don't live here no more. But I'm at where I used to live. And we was living here, and we put together a vision board. The vision board had a house. It had I'm not sure if it was a Benz, a Bentley. We had a few things up there. And it didn't happen just like that. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But right now we have a house. In that driveway, we have a Benz. We have two Benzes and a Bentley sitting in the driveway. So it's like these are things that we're calling into existence, not just by saying it, but we're doing things actively to call it into existence. So I'm telling you, this is like a secret, because it's like energy. When you calling things into existence, you start the ball rolling. If you play bowling, you don't have the bowling ball and then the pins just fall. You have to cast the ball out. So we're casting the ball out when we start off with the vision board. And then we have to do certain things to make it happen. You call that energy, and then you have to be aware, because sometimes opportunity comes, and if you're not paying attention, it'll get away. Like one of the things I do, garbage. I clean trash compactors and garbage chutes. That's one of the things I do with my company. That wasn't on no vision board. But when the opportunity came, and I'm like, listen, this is a way for me to make some extra income. And I just looked at it as, okay, well, I'm going to do a couple of buildings. And I didn't think about it as long term. I just thought about it like, I'm going to make a little extra money right now. I did over 100 buildings from June until, this is October. From June to October, I did over 100 buildings. So I'm saying this because, like I said, when you cast that ball, when you start the chain rolling, you have to pay attention to the opportunities when they come. You want to get into stores. Boom. Put that on your vision board, or anything that you, it could be something computerized. It could be something that you're able to go back to and reflect on. and then pay attention, because somebody might come to your table and talk to you, and then they don't seem like they're trying to buy nothing, but they're trying to talk to you. And you be like, you ain't buying nothing, get out my face. No, talk to them, because their ideas, the picture, their purpose may be greater than selling them a $25 candle. So I'm just saying that keep your eyes open, stay vigilant, keep the faith, keep believing in yourself, and do your thing. It's 25 ways to make 25K. You know, you have a good night. It was a pleasure. And
Thank
it wasn't
you.
as hard. It wasn't hard, right? It wasn't that bad, right?
No, you like to put people on the spot though. Sometimes.
But hey, you got to do it. You got to keep you on your toes. Like, come on. I didn't say anything to embarrass you. Like, I want you to talk about yourself. Like, put it out there. Make it happen. Like, so people like you, like I said, you probably get some hits off this, and some more people going to be hollering at you. If you have a place where you want them to drop like DMs or something, it'll be through Instagram, or
Yeah,
you got
Instagram is.
something, an email address.
I do have an email. My email is sophisticatedsense@yahoo.com.
I messed up. What the devil did I just do? Hold on. Oh, I clicked banners. I don't know how I did that. All right, sophisticated sense.
@yahoo.com. So you can always email me. You can write me on TikTok or Instagram, and I'm always online. So I think I'm really easy to reach.
Okay, that's good. Willie Wilson said, yo. Yo, Willie Wilson, what's up? So, Tony Staten shouted you out. Willie Wilson shouted you out. Basita Boo, 55. She's the one that likes your confidence. She said, cute, Sarah. Amazing sense. Okay. Send you some hearts.
Oh,
Momo
thank
B,
you.
Momo B shouted you out.
Momo B, my cousin.
So, you have a good night. I'm getting ready to go home. So, my ride will be here soon. My chauffeur. All right, you have a good night. Johnny Bunty Jr., 25 ways to make 25K with Sarah Sha J. Johnson. Signing off. Y'all have a good night. Like I said, keep the faith. Keep it up. 25 ways to make 25K. If you want to go places you haven't been, you have to do things you haven't done. Good night.